Hello, my name is Dalia, and today I will be talking about the child abduction in America. Did you guys know that in America, every 40 seconds, a child goes missing or gets abducted? In 2017, the missing person file contained more than 32,000 children under the age of 18 that were abducted, and 1 in 10,000 of those missing children aren't found alive. In this speech, I plan to give you information about child abduction and how bad it's getting. First, I will discuss what child abduction actually is, although many of you may already know about these stories in the news. Second, I will talk about the statistics of child abduction. Then finally, I will talk about what the authorities have been doing so far. When a child is abducted, it means that a child is being taken away unwillingly from their parents or their guardians, and many people also know this as kidnapping. There are 3 types of child abduction, and one of them is parental child abduction. This is by far one of the most common type of child abduction. Parental child abduction is when there is only one parent that could be around the child, and the other parent abducts or kidnaps a child from their guardian illegally. So basically, he takes the children away without the parent knowing. This usually happens when the parents are separated or in the divorce proceedings. The second type of child abduction is called international child abduction. This is when the parent or a relative or acquaintance leaves the country with a child in violation of the visitation order or custody decree. 2/3 of these type of cases involve mothers who often allege domestic violence. The third type of child abduction is called kidnapping and abduction. This is when a child is kidnapped by a complete stranger who is not part of the family, and these kinds of cases are rare. If there were to be kidnapped by a stranger, some of the reasons would be ransom, extortion, and even human trafficking, and many other things. Now that I have talked about what child abduction is, I'll move on to talk about some of the statistics of child abduction. In the United States, when it comes to abduction and children by strangers, the contact between the child and the abductor happens within a quarter mile of the child's home. Most of these types of kidnappers grab their victim off the street and force him into their car. 74% of the victims that are kidnapped by strangers are girls. When it came to abducted children by family, 44% were younger than 6 years old. And 55% of those children were abducted by their biological fathers, and 25% were abducted by their biological mothers. And only 6% of those children abducted by their families have yet to return home. In 1999, about 203,900 children were victims of family abduction. And also, believe it or not, only 43% of the victims of family abduction were not considered missing by their caretakers. Since they knew where the whereabouts of the children were, they were not considered missing. Studies show that younger children are the ones at greater risk of family abduction. Now that I have talked about some of the statistics of family abduction, I will move on to talk about how the authorities have been involved in these cases so far. It is up to the authorities to see if the child was abducted or kidnapped. If a child was taken by a parent, but they know the whereabouts of the child, then the child is not necessarily missing, but abducted. According to the survey that was made by NISMART, there are only 121,800 known cases to the police of abducted children in 1999. This is nowhere near the 203,900 children that were previously mentioned. Police have taken different measures in order to try and find the abducted child. They make sure to get all the information needed where the abduction occurred, as well as the record of everyone who is a suspect. They always make sure to ask for identification and always make sure to keep in touch with the people and the family in case something new pops up. When a child is abducted, just know that the police are doing everything in their hands so they can get the child back home safely. In conclusion, today I have talked about the abduction of children. I also talked about what child abduction actually is and the 3 different types of child abduction. I also talked about the statistics of this, and I also finally talked about what the authorities have been doing and how they've been getting involved in the abduction of children. It is very important for the people to know that how bad the abduction of children is, and to always be on the lookout, because you even have to be looking out for the people that are closest to you. Thank you.